Yeah,
Is it rolling right now?
It is.
Everything.
You have a lot to edit out. Most of this should not go anywhere.
All right, so what do you want to do a shot of today?
Something good, non-alcoholic.
Okay, I think we have just the thing.
I'll show you.
It's by
what?
This is not sponsored, and it's leaking, so I'm going to give that back to you. Cool, so we'll do a shot of by, was it cherry flavored?
Cherry flavored by, yes. Yeah. Antioxidant infusion.
So we'll be healthier at the end of this.
Yeah, hashtag health.
Hashtag health.
We need the antioxidants because we're not, in our 20s anymore, so I'm speaking
for yourself.
Mostly for me. But you're also not in your 20s. So.
I am not, no.
Okay, all right, cool. So we'll do a little cheers to Greencastle.
Cheers to Greencastle,
okay.
Yes.
Cheers.
Hey.
We'll do a little, you got to do that. Makes it official.
Oh.
Wow, that's very refreshing.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
No, it was good. I liked it. I've never had that before, so that was cool.
No, that's super good. So before we get into some of the get to know the Gacker stuff, I have a very important question to ask you. Does pineapple belong on pizza?
100%.
You heard it here.
100%. And most of the people that knock it is because they haven't tried it.
Okay.
But pineapple with ham is absolutely amazing.
I mean, justify it. Like, why? What makes it amazing?
I think it's that contrast, the sweet and saltiness, right? So you have that with candy bars. You have that with, other kind of foods. So when you have that salty kind of ham or Canadian bacon, and then you add some pineapples to it.
Yeah.
It creates this, flavor blast in your mouth.
But we're going to trademark that.
It is delicious.
Okay. I mean, and this is coming from a pizza expert, I would like to say. I mean...
Experimenter, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Experimenter.
Pizza engineer, maybe.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, I like that.
If we're throwing out titles, we can go with
We are throwing them out. That's very official.
Perfect.
Cool. So, we're on a Get to Know the Gacker episode today, so the audience wants to know all about Anthony Burke.
Oh.
I think. I mean,
Yeah, no, I'm happy to share. We'll see where it goes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so you work at Greencastle. Yeah. How did you find yourself here?
Yeah, so I guess I took a route that was a little different than how it is today, going on LinkedIn or something like that, or Orion. No, actually, I was at church several years ago. So I've been here 4.5 years now. And I was in Sunday school with Dan Roberts, he used to work here. He's off doing great things with another company now. But we were just chatting after Sunday school, and he's like, "What do you do?" I explained to him I worked for another utility, project management. And he goes, "I work for a veteran-only, 100% veteran-owned, operated place, and we do project management." So we just started exchanging information, talking. He gave me his number, and he's like, "Hey, give me your resume. I'll toss it into Selwyn, the former owner." And 2 weeks later, that's all she wrote.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you've been here ever since?
Been here. I drank the Kool-Aid. I drank the Greencastle Kool-Aid, and day one it was with Selwyn. I had a meeting with him, and he went over the RSOI introductions. Day 3, I was in front of a client and having conversations, and I've loved it ever since.
And since you use an acronym, you have to explain what RSOI is because the audience probably doesn't know.
Let me look up what RSOI stands for real quick.
So it's a process in the military that you're basically reintegrating back after a deployment. I don't know what it stands for either. It
always slips in my mind. Yeah.
But that's our onboarding process here. So everybody has an awareness of what that is.
Yeah.
So you've been here 4.5 years, drank the Kool-Aid.
Yes.
I mean, easy to do here because it's a lot of fun.
It is.
I think.
It is, yeah.
What's your favorite part about being here?
I would say it's you probably hear this a lot as you're talking to folks, it's the culture. For me, I'm a family guy. Family first, 100% every day that my life is driven by my family. And what Greencastle offers and what they provide is a work-life balance where I can go to my kid's soccer game, I can go to my daughter's volleyball game, I can spend time with them. But they also know I'm going to go home and get the work done. So it's adult rules, as Joe Crandall always says. We play by adult rules, and it's not just a saying. It's something that it's lived and breathed. We see it from the top down, and it's really cool to see it permeate all through Greencastle. So that'd be number one. The number two, it's the culture right behind it. I come to work, I get to talk to people like you, Danny Thiel, all these folks, and we have a great time.
Yeah, we do have a great time.
Yeah.
Like, this is not fake. We really do. So, cool. So you are a veteran like anybody else here. What is your military background?
Military background. So it goes really, really far back where my interest came from. My grandfather served in World War II. Heard stories from my father about him all growing up. I always wanted to do something and be a part of it, but unfortunately when I graduated high school, I kind of went the college route. Didn't really know about ROTC, so I didn't go through with that. Graduated, got married, and actually had 3 kids. And then I saw an ad on TV, and I was like, I could do that. I could still do that. So at 25 years old, I went to basic training, OCS, and started my military career with 3 kids at home. And I was like, well, we're just doing it now.
That honestly, like, I'm sitting here because it's not in my notes, but it was the exact same for me. This is not about me, but I saw an ad on TV at 30 years old and said, I can still do that. And I went to OCS. So
that is awesome.
It's like, we're cut from the same cloth. So I totally get that, because it's a totally different experience when you're going to basic training.
Yeah.
And you're like the old person.
Yes.
But you're not old, but you are.
Compared to everybody else, when you're older than the drill sergeants and they're yelling at you, and it's like, I have a full-time job and kids at home right now.
I'm paying bills,
And then you're trying to tell the 18-year-old, shut up in formation, we're going to get smoked here. It's like, let us be.
Right. So you went through OCS, and then where'd you land after that?
So I went to OCS at Fort Benning, and I got to go home for a couple months, and then I went out to Fort Huachuca to do some military intelligence work. Did all the training out there. That was, again, hard because separated from my family. The 4th kid was on the way, and we're like, oh man, it's hard because she has to deal with everything at home. So in the end, I'm trying to say my wife is the real trooper. She's the one that had to deal with everything. She did the budgeting. She took care of the house.
Military spouses deserve a lot of credit.
100%.
Like, they do not get the credit that they deserve. I mean, I think I've said that a few times on the podcast, but like, that's a hard job.
It is. At Huachuca, where I'm being trained and stuff, where it's a 9 to 5, where the spouse at home is 24/7.
Yep.
So I agree with you, and I'm glad you're doing that shout out, because I think that's so understated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And time moves a lot slower. Like, when you're away, you kind of lose track of things. You're in it, you're doing the training, you're kind of in that day to day, but the person that's at home, that time crawls. It's like it takes forever. So shout out to the military spouses. So now that we've learned about your military background, I want to dive into some fun stuff, which we did touch on already. You mentioned about pineapple on pizza.
Oh yeah.
That's going to be a big controversy.
I'm sure, yeah.
Let us know in the comments what you think. Do you think that pineapple belongs on pizza or not? I've never had it, so I'm not gonna. I know.
So you can't even vote either way.
No, I can't.
Oh.
And I mean, I've had pizza. I've just never had pineapple.
Okay,
on
or at
pizza.
least you had the first one. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Could you imagine?
I would have to walk out right now. I'm sorry.
Right. So talk about your affinity for pizza and where that began.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, just like any kid, you love pizza. I mean, you have your kids' party. It's like, what are you gonna have? You're gonna have pizza. I would say it really started when I was a kid. I'm actually from Portland, Oregon. That's where I was born. And I was homeschooled. Don't hold that against me. I was homeschooled for, the first couple grade school years. And my mom wanted to take us to Chuck E. Cheese Pizza on Tuesdays. So we would do our entire school day at Chuck E. Cheese. That was the coolest.
Wow.
I got tokens. I go play, come home, go back to the table, do schoolwork, and we always had ham and pineapple pizza. So that's probably like where the seed happened, right? When I turned 16, one of my first jobs was working at a Pizza Hut. And I was 16 years old. I was working until sometimes midnight, 1 a.m. on a school night, going to school, after school, head back to the pizza shop, and keep doing what I was doing. And that was the most fun I'd ever had working at some place, besides Greencastle. Greencastle's number one. Let's state that right there.
Well, but Pizza Hut's great.
But I was with my friends making pizza. Yeah. I didn't care if the line was out the door. I didn't care if a customer was screaming. My job was to make the best pizza and make that person smile. Yeah. And I loved it. I loved when they knew they're getting something amazing that I created. And it's instant delivery, right? The order comes in, that's the requirements. You make the pie, you get it out, and you immediately get that feedback. And I think that's really what sparked it on. And I worked for Pizza Hut for probably about 6 years through high school and college. And
wow,
it's always like, I want to get back there. I want to do that.
That instant gratification, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like you give it to somebody and they like it, that's cool.
Well, I love seeing it come out of the oven, in all honesty, because you have a good product when the crust is just right, the cheese is just bubbling. I haven't eaten lunch yet, so I'm hungry. But it's you immediately see it and you're like, this is awesome. And the coolest thing is you're going to go hand it to somebody and they're going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I think that has always just resonated with me and stayed with me. And just recently that re-energizing, that passion has really come back. I got a pizza oven for Christmas. My wife gave that to me, and I've been going at it.
Okay, so what is something you've made? Like, have you made like really fun creations, or is it very standard?
Ham and pineapple pizza.
Okay, that's the one. All day, every day.
That is a standard. So with I started experimenting with an oven, but you really can't get the temperature right. You need an oven that's going to get to 1,000 degrees. That gives you that crispy, bubbly dough that you're really looking for. So I experimented with pizza stones, oven, trying to blast it up to 550, doesn't work. Finally, I got the pizza oven where I can do wood pellets. Amazing, smoky kind of flavor taste. So what I've been doing is I've just been doing standard pizzas or like margarita pizza. The thing I'm proud of the most is a chocolate chip pizza. My kids call it the cookizza because it's a cookie pizza.
Oh. Well, don't tell the internet that. That's like your secret. That's a great name.
Man, all right.
Got to trademark that.
Wow, dang it. I should do that. Yeah. So that'd be probably the biggest thing I've done is a chocolate chip pizza.
So is it just the dough with like the chocolate chips, or is there another element
Top
to
secret.
it? It's proprietary.
Yeah,
I can't know.
It's essentially what it is. You can look it up online. You take cake batter, and you make regular dough. And then you put cake batter on it as well, and then you add chocolate chips. And as it cooks all the way through, you got that sweet flavor coming through.
Okay.
It's delicious.
This is like so much that I never knew I needed to know about pizza.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool, though. I mean, I like that you have that passion for it. I mean, it's something that you can involve your family in, too, which is cool.
Yes. They love it. They love pizza night. I make my own sauce. I make my own dough. Everything's homemade. And I've experimented. I have a whole notebook of all my tests that I've run through, but they love it because they're getting pizza. Kids love pizza, and they decorate their own. We run it through the pizza oven, and I have big dreams and aspirations that hopefully this will eventually lead to someday.
I mean, your name is Anthony. I feel like you have to own a pizza place,
and I'm not Italian whatsoever. But they already have Anthony's coal fire pizza, so I can't. Anthony's wood stove pizza. I could just piggyback off that.
Yeah. Just keep adding words to it.
Right, yeah.
So talking about your family, you have 5 kids, right?
Five
so
kids.
Tell us about all your children, your brood of children
my
that you have,
basketball team,
and your wife, too.
yes.
I'd love to hear about her.
Yes, yeah, my wife's absolutely amazing. She is, going back with the military spouse thing, I mean, she ran the home. She did all the hard work. As I'm out, there was no real responsibilities. I just had to get myself home, every night. She's running the household. She's doing all the extra things, running the kids to activities. So I actually met my wife in college on a basketball court. So we have a real strong connection with basketball. She's a phenomenal basketball player. Her and I used to actually go and challenge guys at the gym, and we played 2-on-2 pickup ball, and
I love it.
Had a blast.
I love it.
Had a blast, yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Cool. And then, do any of your kids play basketball?
So because they live in my house, yes.
They're required to.
It is a requirement. It's a Burke requirement to play basketball. No, they all we'll go to the park and shoot around. My son is trying out for the middle school basketball team. Tryouts are actually in 3 weeks for him. But he did play last year, so he's playing this year. My daughter has a natural ability to play, and but unfortunately I'm not going to play dad.
Oh.
But I want them to be happy. I want them to enjoy the sport. But yes, they're getting interested.
Yeah, she might come back to it.
I hope.
You never know, right?
I hope. Yeah.
So you love basketball. You coach, right?
Yes.
Okay. So tell us about coaching.
Yeah. So I'm the head coach at a small. It's a High Point Baptist Academy. That's the school that I coach at. I did assistant coach for 4 years, and then I'm right now starting my 5th season as the head coach in the head coach role. Last year we had one of the most incredible seasons, almost out of the school or out of that group that's been coming up. We made it to the state tournament.
Wow.
Which is huge. It's a lot of fun. The team I had last year, we went 21-7, and a lot of the people here at Greencastle, they know, because every day I'd come in, and if they saw a smile on my face, I'd start telling them, yeah, we won last night. And, they see a frown, and they know, obviously, the opposite. But we had such an amazing season. It's setting the expectation. We got to keep it going.
Yeah.
We got to keep it going.
So what's your favorite part about it?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. Can I say, I think, all right, so if we're talking in the moment, it's in the moment of coaching the game. Mm-hmm. I can't sit. I cannot sit still at all. You can see it right now. I need to move. I need to do something. So I walk up and down the sideline. I never sit. If I sit, there's a problem, right? Mm-hmm. I'm up and down the sideline, and I love watching the players move, watching them execute the plan that we've practiced hard and what we've done, and actively coaching, moving pieces and doing stuff, but then also taking the satisfaction when I tell them to run a play, I kind of sit back and I get this front row seat of them executing what they've worked so hard on, and just being there to witness it. Mm-hmm. I'll say, if I can interject, one of my favorite memories last year, and actually I have a clip of this if you want to throw this in here.
Oh,
kind of a shout out to the High Point basketball team, by the way. Last year we had a district game. You have to go through districts to get to states. And we have to win this game, right? We have to win it in order to play. And 5 seconds are left on the clock. And we're down. We're down by, I think we were down by, it was either 1 point or 2 points. I forget what the exact score was. I called a timeout. And I'm like, all right, guys, you know what we need to do? We need a 3 because we need to win. And it's a play that we've practiced for 4 years. We pulled it out 4 years ago. I drew it up 4 years ago, and we've practiced it for 4 years with the same group of guys. I've coached them freshmen through senior. I'm getting like, I can feel it, because I was there. I was standing right there. But it was 5 seconds left, and we're down, and we need to win. And I called the timeout, and the coolest thing was they all came up, and they were excited. And it's like, what are we going to do? It's like, we're going to run prayer. That was the name of our play, run prayer. And I didn't have to say anything really else because they knew we practiced it. We practiced late game situations. I said, go out and do it, guys. So we line up. They execute it perfectly. My point guard throws a half-court pass into my shooter's hands, and he nails the shot.
What?
Nails the shot with
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's go to the clip of that. So that's pretty cool. I mean, like,
absolutely.
That's like a movie, right?
Yes.
Like that's, I can't think of a basketball movie. Gosh, I'm like one of like Air Bud.
Oh yeah, yeah, and Buddy nails the foul shot and they win. It was like a Hoosiers moment. The gym was absolutely packed, and everybody just went nuts. And I'm kind of standing behind my 3-point shooter. He actually led the state and made 3-point shots. He made over 104 in one season. So he's one of the top 3-point shooters to come out of like the state of Pennsylvania, right? And he nails the shot, and everybody just goes nuts. And that feeling that I felt then, I feel it right now because it's all their hard work. Mm-hmm. Everything they did, and they trusted each other. And as a coach, it's that satisfaction, it's that joy you feel emanating from your players, like they did this. And it was just the most incredible moment of my life.
That has to be really rewarding, like just like the pizza stuff. I mean, it's very similar, right? Like that feeling of it's very rewarding. So that's really cool. So I want to jump into a really fun fact that I think is the most fun fact that it does kind of go with basketball. Somebody's hesitant for me to say because he knows what I'm going to say.
Is my phone ringing? I think I have somewhere else to be.
So you were a college cheerleader.
I like to say a collegiate athlete.
A collegiate, but true.
Yes.
Yeah. That's still true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I was a college cheerleader. Yeah.
I think it's incredible. So I was a cheerleader for most of my life. So I love that we have that in common. Yeah. But it's very athletic, depending on where you go. There's some schools that I think it's more of like kind of like a club situation, but then there's places that you go that it's very competitive and very athletic. So why cheerleading?
Why not? No, yeah. So the cheerleading thing, I went to Cedarville University, And when I was out there, I really spent a lot of time in the gym playing basketball. And also, as a freshman in college, you're going to spend time in the weight room. You're trying to lift. Just for health, right?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Not for the way you look at all.
No. Not for any other.
Curls every day.
Right. Curl for life. Yeah. So I can't remember if I was just walking to the gym or I was actually in the the weight room trying to put on pounds or whatever. And I ran into one of the other guys that was doing cheerleading, and he goes, "Hey, you seem to be interested in being athletic or at least taking care of yourself and being active. Why don't you come down and check this out?" I'm gonna check what out? He's like, "Oh, maybe being a cheerleader." So he takes me down to the gym, and they're having practice, and I walk in, I'm like, "Oh, this is good."
Best decision of my life.
Best day ever. So I walk in, and I always thought, in all honesty, cheerleader was, let's go, let's but they're tossing these girls into the air, and we're not talking 10 feet. We had this scoreboard that hung down in the middle of the gym. So you're thinking a really big gym, they can throw her up where she almost touches the top. And that is, I can't even imagine, like 40 maybe feet up in the air. And I'm like, what in the world? And they're catching, the guys are doing stunts and stuff. And there's girls, right? So as a freshman, I'm thinking this could be a fun adventure. So I decided to hang out for a practice and then another practice. And they're like, "Do you want to be a part of the team?" I was like, "Let's do it." So from then on, it was mandatory. You got to be in the weight room. You got to come to. We had 2-3 hour practices a week, and I got to do a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, like stunts.
Yes. Yeah. So some of the coolest things. I did a lot of the tumbling and stuff, and I actually took a tumbling course.
Wow. Okay. So that surprised me because we had this conversation before. I didn't know you did tumbling. That's like a whole other. That's impressive.
Well, sure, I got to keep myself interesting somewhat. Yeah. I can't spill all the beans in one go.
Right.
Let me tell you about this other time.
Okay, so you did what kind of like tumbling? Were you doing like back handsprings, or you're like super like full twisting layout kind of?
Yeah, so I did front handsprings rolling into a front flip, back handsprings into a back tuck. I did round offs into a back tuck, run up a wall, back flip off of it. Me and my buddy had a little routine where he would flip me up into the air, and I would land, and he'd run at me, and I'd flip him up into the air. Funny story about him, he was really in it to impress girls. You can edit that out. I don't know if he's Wolfgang, I'm sorry. That's his first name. So we called him Wolf, the Wolf, right?
Yeah.
Not the Wall Street version.
Yes.
So we're in the cafeteria, and we're getting involved, and our names are starting to kind of get out there. They know who we are. We're at the basketball games. We're like doing all the fun stuff. And he's like, "I'm going to impress everybody." So he tries to run up a pillar wall in the cafeteria. That's just drywall. He puts his foot into the drywall as he tries to go up, slams his head into the ground, gets a concussion in front of like 400 people.
That went wrong. Yeah.
That went wrong very quickly.
Yeah.
And he wanted me to do it with him, and I was like, no.
We're good.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm very impressed. That stuff is not easy. That is an athletic ability very distinctly, and I think people forget, like you said, cheerleading is the rah stuff, but the gymnastics, the throwing people in the air, that is, it's hard. It's hard work, especially when you're competitive like that. So cool.
And I do want to, if I could, I also want to add, like, when you get into that like cheerleading environment, I'm making the joke like as a freshman, you're like, oh, pretty girls or something. The cool thing is they became like sisters. Yeah. Because I was responsible, so I had a partner that I would throw up onto my shoulders, and I'd lift her up into the air and all this kind of stuff. My job was to protect her, and that's the cool thing. It changed the dynamic. It changed my focus of going in. That she's not going to get hurt.
Yep. And
it totally changes how I was looking at how my lens was, because now it's my job, and I took it very, very seriously. Like, if something happens, I'm also a spotter too. If something happens, I'm going to throw out to catch and make sure that she doesn't get injured.
Yeah, that's very unique about cheerleading. I didn't think we'd really get into this stuff, but that.
Neither did I.
Yeah, but it's a unique way of team building, because it's just a much deeper bond, because you do, as somebody who's a base to a stunt, you're responsible for, if that girl's coming down and you don't think you're going to catch, you put your body under that person, you make sure that they don't hit the ground. That's, because it can be a very serious injury. So it's really creates that bond with your teammates, which I think is cool.
Yeah.
Very impressive. So let's leave the audience with one thing I like to kind of wrap it up with is a leadership lesson that you have, because you've had many different experiences that kind of culminate with leadership, from your coaching, even stuff at Pizza Hut, like there's, I'm sure, and here, cheerleading, basketball, all of it. So like, what's the leadership lesson you want to leave everybody with?
The thing that probably stands out the most when I think about leadership is there's no one size fits all. My first year of coaching, I took it was almost drill sergeant-esque approach to basketball. Everybody on the line, run back and forth. And the season started out very, very rocky because I was just barking orders at them. I was just telling them, do what I'm telling you, that's being a leader. And that wasn't the right way because, one, they're not in the military. They're high school kids. They need a little more. They need to know why. And I think that really started to come out in how I handle things is how you get and motivate people is explain their purpose, their why. Why are we doing this? Why do we need to accomplish this task? Why do we need to run? Why do we need to get this status report done? So when you add the context of why behind this stuff, I think that just changes how you lead. Now I'm not just barking orders. Now I'm not just telling do so because I say so. It's a coaching, mentoring aspect to leadership. Mm-hmm. This is why. This is your involvement. This is how you can be effective. This is how you can help the whole team, whether it's Greencastle team or it's the basketball team or it's at home. The kids, not just telling them, hey, you're part of the family. This is why you're doing this.
Yeah.
So that's probably my biggest thing that I've learned over the years.
That's a great one, defining that purpose.
Yes.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I had a lot of fun. I hope you did.
I had a blast.
Cool.
This is great.
Yeah. Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel. We really appreciate it. Anthony appreciates it. I appreciate it. We all appreciate it. So maybe we'll do a part 2. Maybe people want to hear more about the pizza, cheerleading, basketball. Who knows? So
sounds great.
We'll have you back sometime.
Thank you.
All right. Cool. Thanks.